Okay, so warmly welcome everyone to this IDG Toolkit launch. And the IDGs is an open source framework aiming at bringing the power of inner development to the global challenges that we are facing as humanity. And here we are on this perfectly imperfect journey. And the ideas of the IDG is already sprouting in many places all over the world. Something is emerging, and it's a journey of co-creation. I see it like a movement of connecting movements, resonating with and sensing into a common calling. There is urgency, but it's also early. And together we are building liberating and good enough structures as we go. We are looking forward to more innovations, building on the toolkit, more experiments in hubs all over the world, networks and organizations, and by practitioners across the world. But again, no need to be perfect. What is key is that together we can create minimum elegant structures to support and enable sharing and collaboration and continuing emergence of this. So the event today is one such structure, and we all have roles to play in this going forward. And the intention of this gathering today is to acknowledge the effort and care that has helped us come this far, but also make visible where we are now and the next steps to come. And to sense make around the supporting structures, around hubs and networks and ways to engage going forward, whether you are a practitioner or you are in an organization or a private person for that sake. So connecting with each other and making visible this emergent movement. And what will happen today is we're going to listen to several voices sharing thoughts on where are we in this IDG idea and the process around it, going from phase 2 to phase 3, the research that has gone into it so far and some thoughts about what is coming, looking at the toolkit, a very early version of a toolkit that is connecting the framework of the IDGs to what we can do. Getting a sense of the communities that are emerging, how we can engage as organizations, and so on. So my name is Pontus Holmgren, and I'm one of the hosts for this meeting today. I'm also helping out, coordinating hubs and networks connecting to the IDG all over the world. And together with me, I have Katarina, who is responsible for the summits and events in the IDG. And you are going to co-host with me today, Katarina.
It is my great pleasure and honor to do so, Pontus. Thank you so much for welcoming us in this beautiful, beautiful space. I have to say, I'm quite impressed. We've got more than 400 people with us online already. And some of you were already here a few minutes earlier, so you already heard the music. I could see some of you dancing already. And I would like to start this whole meeting also with the moment of landing. You know, some of you might be familiar with the concept of psychological safety that we apply to work settings. You know, we have to feel safe to work better. And it also applies to meetings like this. We also have to calm our nervous system to actually be able to be more attentive towards each other, to be more open and empathetic, and also to remember things better. So I think it's always good to connect first and communicate later. And that means on one hand, connecting to ourselves and also connecting to each other. And connecting to ourselves is quite good when we start that with actually feeling our body, because we're going to be spending some 2 hours here together. Probably a lot of you, as I see, are kind of sitting in front of your laptops, your computers, your cameras, and we might not be moving that much. So maybe let's just become aware that we've got the body at the very beginning. Maybe you can just, roll your shoulders a bit, or maybe you shake your hands or shake your body. You can shake whatever you want to shake, stretch a bit in all directions. It's also good to yawn. You can do that with or without a hand, depending on your level of politeness or cultural backgrounds. I don't know. But it's also quite good to activate our mirror neurons, and that's good for empathy. So, becoming aware of our physical bodies, maybe taking a deep breath. And with that deep breath, I hand it back to you, Pontus.
Yes, I would like to continue on the theme with actually connecting to our bodies. So I invite you to just close your eyes for a moment and just becoming aware of your inside. And directing our energy to just noticing the breath. And becoming aware of how your body is being supported by a chair if you're sitting, or your feet on the ground. And also connecting to your own why, your own purpose, why you are here. Why are you here today? And with that purpose in mind, in the foreground, I invite you to slowly open your eyes again and to turn on your cameras if you haven't done so, and just lean forward a little bit, just to come a little bit closer to the screen and see on the gallery view the people who are here. And there are arrows on the side of your screen, so you can switch. On my screen, I actually see 11 different pages, so I can scroll between the pages and see all the people who are here in this meeting, just acknowledging that we are a lot of people from all over the world, representing all continents. And greeting all of us, welcome. And handing it over to you, Katarina.
Thank you so much for helping us land. And for connecting with each other here. Seeing everyone else in our little video brackets. I think it's beautiful what you just said, because this whole event is really there for you. And we've seen so many people already in the chat telling us where you're coming from, where you're saying hello from. And now we could already kind of have a look at all those beautiful videos, all those faces that are on. And since we already are quite close to the camera, maybe let's do another check-in here. How familiar are you with the IDGs? If your answer is this is basically your first touch point or the first week that you've ever heard of the IDGs, maybe go a bit further away from your camera. You can, get up and really, go far away from your camera. If you want to show us your whole outfit, that's fine. If you're a bit more familiar with it, maybe come a bit closer. You're interested, but you don't know too much about it. If you're already somehow involved, you might be in a hub, or you might be a partner or a catalyst, or all the things that you can be. maybe a bit closer. And if you're basically dreaming about the IDGs day and night, nothing else here, then maybe, you know, come quite close to your cameras. Okay, I can see Jan quite close here. Yeah, okay. A few people to be expected. Pontus, yes. Okay, so we get a bit of an idea here, and also from the check-in that some of you did in the house space already, we got some idea of how familiar you are, maybe yes or maybe not, or everything else on the spectrum. So once more, house space, we put this link in the chat already, and we're going to be using this quite a lot today. So that means you can, of course, use the Zoom chat as you might be doing in other kind of online meetings. But also, we very much encourage you and invite you to go to house space once more now. And there we already previously, before we started this event today, we asked you a few questions. One of them was, how familiar are you with the IDGs? A bit like now, from 1 to 10. And I think the average we got was this 5.5. So I think we've got a good variety of people who are quite familiar and people who really want to know more about it. We also ask you why you're actually joining this event today. And it's quite cool because on Housespace, we have this AI in the background that creates kind of bubbles and percentages out of your answers. So we figured that some 60% really just are here to learn more about the IDGs, are really curious. Some 16% are specifically interested in the toolkit, since this is a toolkit launch. Some 10% are specifically interested to see how you can bridge the gap between the SDGs and the IDGs, which is, of course, important to us. And then for 10%, it was more about this community, kind of strengthening this community here, but also seeing how you can bring the IDGs in your own communities. I love it. I found a few people who actually said they're here because Pontus invited them. Pontus, I'm quite impressed if you have your 400 best friends with us now. Well done. And we also got some beautiful pictures of people from like yoga studios, someone in the woods, someone in the river. I saw artwork. So please make sure to check out everything that is on Housespace already. And we also invite you to write the first kind of check-in question that we're posing now. I think you have to scroll down a bit on that page, and there you will find the question, what is alive for you when you enter this meeting? And there also our AI creates this cool bubble: curiosity, excitement, connection, hope, community, happiness, and anticipation. And with this anticipation, I would say, let's get started.
Katarina, let's also welcome the people who are not in Zoom, who might only be watching through Housespace or through YouTube, through the YouTube channel. So just including you all.
Hello, everyone on all the platforms that you're following us now. We're very happy to have you with us. In case you want to communicate anything about that's happening here now or in general about your own IDG initiatives, we also remind you to just use the hashtags IDG and IDG tools. And here now, for the ones who are in the Zoom, please rename yourself so we actually know who you are. If you want, you can share your organization or wherever you're based. And for the ones who are joining from a hub, as I see people also who are joining in groups, maybe just put a hashtag in front of your name and just the name of your hub, the name of your community, so that we also know who's there in groups. Deep breath. And with this, I would say, let's get started. As you're all here to learn more about the IDGs, we'd really like to bring in some of the people from the initiative who can hopefully give you some answers, or who you can direct all your questions to. And we would like to start with this kind of bigger overview of what are the IDGs, how did they come alive, what has happened so far, and where do we stand right now. For this, again, on Housespace, you will have a chat box, and in there you can at all times enter your questions. If you have questions, please make sure to enter the name of the speaker who will be speaking, ideally before the question, so we can differentiate them, because we'll have 3 speakers and only afterwards we'll try to go into Q&A. So just your question and the name of the speaker. And if you find any of the questions that are already there interesting, you can also rank them so that we see which of the questions are the ones that most of you are interested in. And with this, it is my great pleasure to hand it over to the executive director and very solid heart of the initiative, to Jan.
Thank you. Thank you, Katarina. Thank you all for being with us today. As you know, IDGs has co-creation at its heart. And I would like to just shortly mention the 3 phases that we've divided the initiative into and tell you a little bit on what has happened and where we're going. So the first phase of the initiative was to ask the big question of what are the skills we need to develop individually and collectively to increase our chances of reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. Just that small question took us 3 months to actually define. And just as Einstein said, if you're really serious about trying to solve some problem, you need to spend a lot of time thinking about the question. And we did that with thought leaders like Peter Senge, Jennifer Garvey-Berger, Amy Edmondson, Otto Scharmer, and many others. But then we also said that we need to involve many people from different walks of life, both sustainability, leadership development, to see how we can co-create the framework. And in the first iteration, we had more than 1,000 people, experts, researchers, practitioners, who gave us input. We had 2 researchers coding all the answers coming in. And from that, we got the 5 dimensions and 23 skills, the IDG framework as we know it today. And we also said that this will never be done. This is the first iteration. And of course, we weren't as global as an initiative then. And we had, of course, some biases, Western biases primarily, that we said we will make sure to redo and get more voices and input for this journey of co-creation. The second big question that we asked is, how do we develop these skills that we need? And this is what Christian will be speaking about. This is the report, the toolkit that will start to not answer, but maybe get us into dialogue about this huge question. And the vision we have there is something where almost Wikipedia meets Trustpilot, where around human development for the sake of sustainable development goals. So basically where we could go in and find both tools and methods, but also have a discussion or even debate and hear other voices from different parts in the world, both practitioners and researchers reflecting about these methods and tools. And this is what Samuel will be telling you more about. And this is the start of this conversation, and we really hope to invite you to co-create with us on this journey. And we're entering into the 3rd phase of the IDGs, which is, as Pontus says, movement of movements, or how do we co-create together around the world with hubs, with nodes across different sectors, where we both have the private and public sector, where we involve the academia, but also NGOs, and see how we can apply the tools of human development, because we know that it's us people who are both the biggest challenge and the biggest possibility of us tackling the biggest challenges we have ahead of us. And here we really hope you want to co-create with us on this journey of, again, spreading the one big question that in itself is an intervention, getting people to think, what are the skills that we need to develop? And to ask them for the tools. What are your best tools or method when you have grown in the different skills? We're doing a global leadership development program for sustainable development that we just launched in Kigali. And we're doing it right now in 6 countries. We will probably do it in 6 more countries. With the generous support of Templeton Foundation. We're working with ministers of education around the world. And a lot of what is happening is thanks to you who are watching this today, who are here today, connecting with each other and doing the work locally, because we're a very small team. As Pontus once said, we're trying to have an abundance mentality with very limited resources. And we're trying to co-create as much as possible to reach 100,000 people through the surveys in phase 3. But today we're going to focus on closing the 2nd phase, seeing some of the tools and methods, how we have collected them, and how we can use that to improve ourselves and the world. And throughout the day, you will also be hearing different voices from our sister company, 29K, and how you can use the tools presented just on yourself or on the group that you're working with. You'll be hearing more about how you can join or create a hub, how, if you're an organizational representative, if you can become a catalyst or a partner of the IDGs locally or globally. And of course, we'll be hearing more about our monthly gatherings and the big summit that we're planning in October 2023. So warmly welcome again, and let's kick this off. Back to you, Katarina.
Thank you so much, Jan, for this crisp and precise overview of everything that's happened. And you also mentioned a lot of ways how you can get engaged, as I assume for a lot of you joining today, that is the main question. How can you connect? How can you contribute? How can you collaborate with the IDGs? We also have a very useful collaboration tool on our website that you can use to kind of get a clearer overview for yourselves, how you can play a role in the bigger picture. So thank you so much, Jan. And as you already mentioned, this is the launch of the public toolkit. So we're very happy to now go and actually present that toolkit to you. And for that, I'll hand it over to the research lead of the toolkit and the one connecting brain behind the methods and tools, to Christian.
Hi, everyone. Really honored to do this, and thank you for introducing. My name is Christian Ståhlne. I'm lead researcher of the IDG, and I will present here. I will show you some slides, and we will present on the behalf of myself and Stephanie Greca. We have authored this report together that I will say a few words about, and also with the help of a lot of other people that I will mention later. Okay. First of all, I will start to talk about the report, because we will talk about the publication and the toolkit, about the IDG Toolkit, but the toolkit is part of the larger publication that we make public today, and you can download it on the Inner Development Goals website and resources. You find it there. And the content of this it's first an introduction, and then it describes the IDG initiative, and then gives an introduction to the framework, and also a useful self-reflection tool that you can use for getting acquainted with where you stand on the different skills. And then the main focus of what I will talk about here today, and which will be item 4 and 5, collection of the data and development of the toolkit, how the process leading up to the toolkit, and then introducing the toolkit. So those are the main points here. So this is the second phase, and we have aimed to create the toolkit. That was what our starting point, trying to answering how do we develop these skills that is part of the framework. And our main way or methods to answer this was to make a survey, as we did in the first one. In the first phase, we asked which skills we need to develop. Here we made a survey. Possibly you have answered this survey. You're amongst around 4,000 people who has answered this second phase survey. So this is the main way where we have asked for input from individuals, from people answering on the behalf of their organizations, but also from trainers or researchers or people who have an expertise in development. So this is typically the nature and the look of the survey that we had. And approximately 4,000 responses we have got until today. And if you want to look closer at the data, it's available for download also at the same website, the Inner Development Goals and Resources. And of these, we have approximately a bit over 300 responses coming from trainers and researchers who offered their expertise on describing different methods and how they map on the IDGs, how they address the SDGs, the support on it, describing what they are based on. And there was some doublets here, so I went through all this data during the spring and collected a list of over 200 methods. So you see a list here. You don't need to read everyone in the right on the screen here, but there's a long list of methods. And I tried to cluster these and did it into at least 10 different clusters, or what we could call development directions. And each of these development directions, it's like a paradigm for what inner development means. So there's a huge variety in the field, in the different methods, but also in understanding what inner development is and what it means and how we come about it. So this is the first step, kind of gathering data and see what do people do to develop themselves or supporting the development of others, could be their employees or clients or people participating in workshops, for instance. So this is the first step, kind of mapping out the field of inner development on what people do. So this is the first step towards the field kit or the toolkit. And then the second step, which I would say is the hard one, making a selection, going from 200 methods down to roughly 20 that we will have in the toolkit. So how do we do it? How can we say that, okay, we choose this method, we think this works, but this doesn't? And it's not really that simple. It has been quite a journey. So what we can see here, the selection we have made has been based on some what we call guiding questions or criteria. And also we had kind of these 200 methods, and also to our help here, we had a scientific advisory board of roughly 40 researchers who we have convened regularly during this year and have offered wisdom and a lot of input, which is gratefully acknowledged. So the questions we have kind of asked to each method here is, okay, what's the evidence here that it actually works, that you do the method and something happens that is intended? So that's kind of one question. Another one is underlying theory. Is it based on any thoughts or coherent view on what development is and what it leads to and why it happens? And also, do they address the IDGs and or the SDGs? So can we have a kind of distribution so we actually make a selection that addresses all dimensions of the IDG framework? Is there a community of practice? So we are in this first phase, in the first draft here of the toolkit, we're asking, is there a critical mass of individuals who work and convene around and developing these tools rather than individuals at this stage? And finally, context. Is it suitable in the context that we are interested in which is primarily organizations? So context is a big one, and it's also no method works in all contexts. So these are questions we asked, and then we made a selection. Where we came into 19 methods or groups of methods, because some of these kind of items or selected methods aren't really, some of them are individual methods, but some are groups of methods and some are entire research fields. So we have mixed in that sense. They address all the 5 dimensions. So we use the 5 dimensions, being, thinking, relating, collaborating, and acting, as a way of organizing these methods to see what they cover. And also we have included one do-it-yourself exercise that you don't need any facilitation for each dimension. And this is how we have gone into the toolkit. So without further ado, why not look at give an overview to see which of the 19 methods that we have selected here. So first of all, if we look at the being dimension, we have mindfulness practices and ACT or acceptance commitment therapy or training. And finally, meet yourself, which is an exercise that is actually part of ACT. So these, both mindfulness practices and ACT, these are kind of, we can see this as methods, but also they are rather broad groups of methods, and ACT is an entire research field. So this is the being. And also for each of these methods, we present them with a 1 to 2 page introduction, giving kind of an overview how the method works, what is intended to happen, what it should lead to, and also a first introductory page, giving kind of an simplified overview of, is it more about do it yourself or is it more facilitated? Does it require facilitation? Which skills does it primarily build? And here it's kind of, we have been forced to narrow it down, since most skills, most methods kind of address most parts of us. Going over to the thinking, here we have cognitive skills. So we have dialectical thought form framework, and also the immunity to change process. and then an exercise with personal growth through a polarity lens. Going on to the relating, which contains compassion training, which is a big research field, and nature quest, which is also a broad set of exercises, listening to pause, and finally the symbiosis meditation, which is the do-it-yourself. So if you have a small start, this is the do-it-yourself. And if you're curious to know more, just download the report and get closer acquainted with it and try it out if you can. And then collaborating, we have nonviolent communication, methods for scaffolded collaboration, which is a group of methods that you use to support collaboration, training in intercultural competence, psychological safety, which is a field in itself, and the shield, which is an exercise for safety. And finally, in the acting, personal agency, personal initiative training, arts, creativity, and imagination, and theory U for group work, including prototyping, and then WOOP, which is an exercise. So this is the overview of the toolkit and the methods that go into it, and some final considerations and advices to try it out. Please do an experiment. Bear in mind, though, context and facilitation matters. There's this beautiful quote by Bill O'Brien, which is quite famous. Don't have this instrumental view of the different methods, that you do the methods and then you grow. Rather, it depends on so many other things, which context you are, who you are, where you are in your development, and also the relationship with the facilitator. So it's not that these methods have been selected and everyone else has been deselected. These are scientifically valid and proven to work. It's not that simple. What we want to do in the coming months and year is to grade methods according to scientific support. So far, we haven't done that. That's where we want to go. And then what about the roughly 180 methods that we didn't exclude? Well, that's the kind of cliffhanger to the next presentation. Finally, warmly thank you to Scientific Advisory Board, to all survey respondents and the teams involved, and everyone who's supported. So thank you with this.
Thank you so much, Christian, also for the cliffhanger that's going to take us to the next presentation. I think that was a good taster of something that could also go on your Christmas reading list. I saw a few of the colleagues also posting the direct link to the toolkit in the chat, so please go there, download it, make sure to check it out. And as Christian also said, continue to grow it with us together. And with the cliffhanger, and maybe just a quick note, because some people have been asking, the recordings of today will be available in case you have to drop out a bit earlier. And one last reminder also, if you have questions to either Jan, Christian, or the next speaker, feel free to post them on HowSpace, and we'll try to get some time later to get to your questions. And with no further ado, let's present the last speaker for right now. He's the lead developer of IDG tools, and with that, the one who's adding the digital magic. Please welcome Samuel.
Hello, so nice to see everyone here, and super excited to be here today. It's a big day to not only celebrate what we've done so far, but also look a bit into the future and what we're planning ahead. So without further ado, I'm going to share my slides for presentation. And yeah, what I can just mention while this is starting is that this is community projects. It's something that's not created by a few people alone, but rather this is the work of a lot of people contributing to the content. So
I need to get this. Sorry.
First of all, thank you everyone who has contributed to the content of the IDG Toolkit. Without that content, this wouldn't be any real value. Then also, I want to thank the almost 30 or the 40 plus people who actually contributed to IDG Tools digital version of the toolkit. And especially Chris McTaggart, who's the lead designer of this, and also my partner, Sarah, for her support in making this happen. So IDG Tools. Jan mentioned a little bit about the vision. We want to combine Wikipedia with Trustpilot, kind of like a public digital library for inner development where a lot of tools are available. And we also get some guidance to what tools work and what's the support for various tools scientifically, what's from the practitioners, what do people think about it, how does it work? And also, something that we can extend and improve over time. So it's not something that's fixed, but it's something that's living and that we're creating together. Then a few key parts about the IDG Toolkit as well that it's free to use, it's open source, and we're here because of the co-creation. So that's something that's very key to this project going forward. And I will show you several ways which you can start using the tools and also contribute to make it even better. So it's now available on IDG Tools, and I'm going to show you a demo of this. So switching directly to Toolkits. Here we have the first public beta of the digital IDG Tools website. And the way this works is right now it's focused on the methods and the tools that are coming from this publication that Christian just mentioned. But in the future, we're hoping to also extend it with much more content. We also have the tools from 29K also, few of their courses also available here. So, but that's just one example. And we're, of course, it's about creating a diverse library with a lot of different providers in the future. So feel free to suggest new tools as well. And there's links up here for general feedback about the toolkit, how it feels to use it, and also suggesting new tools. So without further ado, let's look at how it works. So you can choose your skills you want to practice. And right now, this requires that you are familiar with IDG framework, but we're going to improve it in the future to also have a version where it's more like, okay, I don't know anything about IDGs. And then we can help you find your way more through that flow. But that's something that's coming later. And for now, we're focusing on people who know the IDGs and who want to get right into practicing a specific skill. So let's say I'm into the collaborating dimension and also specifically co-creation skills. A coincidence, right? So here we have the first few tools that are relevant for co-creation. And for example, we can get into the details of the tools and read more about it. We can get some information about how it can be helpful to use this tool, what it can lead to. We can read more details. Most of these are from the report, and in the report, there's actually a much more broader context around the tools. So really recommend you check that out if you're into these tools. Then also we try to have concrete way to get started, how to practice for all of these, because we want to make it accessible as well. So it actually is used. You can see the relevant skills and you can see the research and resources that are relevant for this. And when you practiced and use the tool, there's also a feedback form where you can get involved and help make changes and suggest improvements to these tools. So that's something that's very key to this project. And next up, we have the form to suggest a new tool and also a general form to give feedback. So there are ways to get involved in this project. And finally, before wrapping it up, I also want to say that we have a roadmap of things that we are planning for the future. This is not a promise that we will deliver all these things, but it's like, where are we thinking about moving the project going forward? And with your support and with your inputs, really excited to explore where we can take this in the future. Again, this is just the start, and with your support to co-create this toolkit and make it even better in the future, hopefully we can have many different tools in the future, and also get the social reviews and ratings for different tools. So we see what's working, what's not working, and we can improve that. So what we're planning, you can view it here on the roadmap page. But for now, I think this is it. And really want to thank again everyone who has been part of this project, who have contributed to take it to where we are right now. And this is just the beginning. So please go out, use the tools in the toolkit, and then give feedback. And also, if you have a local community or you're using the IDGs in practice, we have a dedicated community section, and we really love to have stories from people all around the world who are using these tools in practice, so we can get the qualitative data on like how this is working in practice, because then we can also we can know what works and what doesn't. So that's a good way to share your experiences, and also then we can learn from this global community. So with that, thank you so much for everyone contributing to these points, and thank you so much in advance for what we're going to co-create now going forward.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for creating this public library and inviting all of us in to co-create it together. So I saw quite a few comments in the chat, and I'm also going to Housepace to check out if we have some questions to our speakers. So if you have any questions and you are on Housepace, ideally post them there. If this is something that doesn't work for you at all, you can also go back to the kind of Zoom chat or to raising your hand. But let's have a look at the Housepace first and see what we got there. All right. I saw a comment, Kristen, to the toolkit by, Luminous 0772, where he or she is saying that he learns best when actually trying methodologies and not just reading about them. So how is the IDG team approaching this dimension of learning with the toolkit? As he says that currently the toolkit looks a bit two-dimensional. And I think also Jan, Samuel, and Christian all feel free to also directly answer those questions together.
Yeah, I think also highlighting that question is about, what about embodied practices?
Yes.
And how do they come in here? And I think that's a relevant question. Who would like to address it?
I can start, and I agree, writing is two-dimensional. I think what Samuel presented in the toolkit, that's a bit more multidimensional, where you can kind of move a bit in between the different practices. But yes, we do present them at this stage in writing. So that's correct.
Yeah, and a second perspective here also is that, as Christian said, to really push it, that there are many beautiful methods that we just didn't have anybody in the scientific advisory board who was confident in writing an A4 summary about it. It doesn't mean that we don't think it's a method that should be there, and we hope that this is a start of a conversation where we can add many more methods and of course update the toolkit yearly or bi-yearly. So we really invite you into this, both those of you who are practitioners and feel that you could suggest or summarize a method, and also Susan Prescott did an announcement to call out for researchers to come together and publish publications. So it's both on Housepace and in the chat. So really, those of you who are researching, check that out.
I also see on Housepace the question, and I think that might be important for a lot of people here. Is it correct to assume that these toolkits can be used by the hubs during the pilot to take it to the masses in those countries? Also, is there any plan to translate these tools into other languages? For example, in India, less than 10% of the population understand English and probably lesser read it.
I mean, it's all we do is open source and non-for-profit. There are many initiatives locally that has been starting to translate and work with parts of the framework, or also tools. We're getting some support, as I said, from Templeton World Charity Foundation to support some countries that are low-income countries specifically. So we hope that more things will be happening there, and we also hope that we can start a few new countries and also work with the public sector, as I said, ministers of education, other public officials, to see how we can co-create. But here again, it's all about us and us working on this and co-creating. So please reach out through Pontus, through the hubs, and see what can be done.
Katarina, before we go to the next question on Housepace, I also want to say that you may raise your hand in Zoom, because it would also be lovely to hear some voices from everyone who is here, or not from everyone, but from someone. of everyone who is here.
Let's have 400 questions right now.
So if you have a question or just a reaction or a reflection, we're welcome to let you in.
Perfect. We already see Venkatesh, you're raising your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Samuel and everyone. Fantastic set of tools. It's really, really amazing the way it's been put together. Regarding translation, I just want to add a quick note because I don't know if the hubs and your team is aware of this. For certain languages, for example, for Hindi and for French, what I noticed is that Google Translate is about 80% accurate, right? So when I translate a huge bunch of text, it is much simpler if I use the API to automatically translate the text first into French or Hindi, as the case may be, and then edit it. So the translation can be a lot more faster. And there's a small amount of cost. It's like $20 for 1 million words or something like that on Google. So it's not expensive. So if you want to go fast on translation, there's something you could try. I'd be glad to help.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And speaking about translation, I can just mention a cool feature on HowSpace. Up in the right corner, there is a little globe. If you click on that globe, you can actually select your own language, and there are quite a few languages, and it will work like a Babel fish. So you will read everything in your language, and you will also be translated from your language into the language that other users have chosen. So that's a feature in HowSpace that can be used. But the question of translation as we go forward with the framework and with the toolkit is, of course, a biggie.
Yeah, the thing is, what we saw with French and Hindi, sorry, Pontus, I'll just take 60 seconds more because that's important. When you use Babel fish or the Google Translate, it's not always accurate. Sometimes the meaning goes helter-skelter. For general text, it's very useful, but for specific tools, which can get precision is important, it may not be ideal. Okay, thanks.
Perfect. I feel like we're going into co-creation live right now. Well, let's try to get some more voices. Maria, I see your hands raised. Please just unmute yourself. Yeah.
Oh, my name is Florencia, and I've been going through the ULab 3. I met Dr. Charmer in Argentina when he came, and I wrote the book. I interviewed you in the process, and he signed the book. And well, I'm building my social enterprise in business school is a university that is focused on entrepreneurship, and well, they presented the IDGs. So well, that's why I'm very interested in developing these skills in all the organizations that I'm as a volunteer and in my own enterprise. I'm also in Lean In, that is an NGO that promotes gender equality.
Maria, I really hate to interrupt you, but it seems like there is a bad internet connection. I'm not sure if that's just me or anyone else is also hearing her very interrupt. Yeah, I see people nodding. Maybe you can try to kind of give us a short question so we can hear you, because you seem to be interrupted.
Okay. I don't have any question right now. Just wanted to introduce myself and thank all the work you're doing. Well, just to let you know that I wrote a book that is very linked to all these tools. That's why I'm here, because
Thank you
it's
so much.
very connected.
Thank you so much. I also saw a lot of people who are sharing links, books, projects, organizations on HowSpace and in the Zoom chat. So please continue to do so. This community is here for you to also exchange and connect your dots amongst each other. We'll have a few more minutes for this Q&A now, and then we'll have to move on a bit with the program. So let's try to get maybe 1 or 2 more voices, and please try to have a short question so we'll get as many as possible. Evgeny, I see you next. I cannot hear you yet. Yeah, let's see if that works. No. Okay, I think we've lost you. All right, in case we lost you, please also just leave your question in HowSpace so we can come back to that one later. I can see Marilyn next.
Yes, thank you so much. I am very excited that today the toolkit was launched, and I'm currently a master's student in Lisbon. And my aim is that within my Masters of Impact Entrepreneurship, I want to bring the IDGs to my university and really implement them, integrate them in the business curriculum, which is a great challenge with the structures at the moment. So I was wondering if there are already initiatives, maybe also in Stockholm, or students who are doing something similar that I could connect to, or someone who's here that would like to connect and join forces for that, because I think it's very important and valuable to do that in the education sector as well.
I don't know if anyone has an answer to that, but I think it sounds like an embryo to a network of students or people who want to write about this and integrate it at the university. Maybe Jan or Christian, you have a voice on this.
What I can say here is that our scientific advisory board was one coherent group, but now in the end of in going into next phase, we're splitting it up into different research interest groups. One such group will focus on how to apply IDGs in higher education. So that's kind of for researchers within and research and university teachers. For students, interesting to kind of have some sort of gathering for students as well. I haven't thought of it yet.
And we will also hear a bit more on the hubs and networks in just a few minutes. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Raphael, I see you.
Quick one to Marilyn also. I saw someone in the Zoom chat already reaching out to you.
This is how quick it goes.
Julius, are you listening to me? Hi.
Yes, we hear you.
Great, thank you. My question is a little bit on if there's anything you guys thought of around measuring if after these interdevelopment goals or these practices work out, like if they actually get to outcomes to the SDGs. Like, can you measure if by doing these things, people actually change something in the world and that kind of stuff? So thank you.
Thank you so much for this big question where I already saw Jan's hand up.
Yeah, so it's huge and it's very hard to answer this simply. But first of all, from my experience at teaching at Stockholm School of Economics, and where we have seen a shift how students are feeling and how engaged they are in global issues due to practices that has been integrated from acceptance commitment, working with values, with purpose, with meditation. Christine Wamsler is doing a lot of work in Lund University on that, and there are several reports published. And she's actually also the head researcher who will be following the group. I told you that Templeton World Charity Foundation is financing a global leadership development program for 20 people from each of the selected 6 countries. And we've just done a pre-measurement before the program starts. And we will do a post-measurement after a half-year program, and then we will follow up with interviews and also see the shifts. And Christine will be writing a report about it, specifically on the training of the IDGs. But there is, of course, a lot of reports already on other trainings related to capacity development, and it's a very complex issue, but there are quite a lot pointing towards that people are both feel more capable and more engaged, and therefore doing more for the world and the SDGs.
Christine is here. Maybe she wants to add something to that. Hello, thanks everybody. I think Jan was provided a perfect summary of the work that is out there. I was a bit distracted because I had to serve my son at the same time, but I understood that it was about education and the work on the IDGs and education, right? So perhaps then I could also refer back to the report as such that Christian wrote in cooperation with many other researchers, where we also have a whole section actually on education and leadership and how it relates to the inner development goals. And yes, there is quite a lot of research out there on transformative education and transformative leadership, where you can find further information. And I also posted a link in the chat where you can find related resources.
Thank you so much, Christine. Another tech announcement is also that in Zoom you can actually save the chat. So in case this is getting a bit overwhelming for you with all the information that you're receiving right now, you can save the chat for later. Mm-hmm. I feel like we can continue for like 5 hours at least. Let's try to have maybe 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll continue with the program. Pontus?
Yes. So are you suggesting we continue with questions or that we actually move on?
I would say let's try to get maybe 1 more or 2 more.
Yeah, one more, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Good cop, bad cop. Okay, so the good cop is saying, Imran, I can see your hand.
Thanks, Katarina. And this is such an amazing event. So I'll make it quick because I see that so many of you are interested to share. So I just wanted to say that I work with soft skills development and I have worked with people from different cultures. And I see that the values embedded within cultures, they actually play a role in helping people understand IDGs and learning it and applying it in academia and in organizations. So I'm happy to collaborate with anybody in any country and from any industries, and also maybe to be part of the research team or the toolkit development team of IDG in the near future. So just let me know if you're interested. Anybody is welcome to connect with me. Thank you so much for giving me the floor.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That wasn't exactly a question, but you had the floor for your sharing. Pontus, what are you saying?
Yes, and I would say, Imran, connect to Samuel as a starting point. And so we are going to move on. We're soon moving into a very short break. And then after that, more exciting things to come. We are going to listen to my favorite spoken word artist. And we're going to hear more about hubs, organizations, how to get engaged, the summit that is coming up later in this year, the gatherings that we have, and the app, the 29K app, that is a free online tool, mobile tool. And there will also be some breakouts and room for more questions. So Katarina, take it away for the break.
Well, with this, I would say let's go into break. Thank you so much to Jan, Christian, and Samuel for this first half. And also thank you so much for all your questions. We're going to have more time for more later. And now we would suggest just a 5-minute breaks where you can stand up, open up your windows, get yourself a glass of water, or just dance it away. And I'll see you again in 5 minutes.
And then we really mean 5 minutes.
Get me through my day. Oh, watching you sleeping, I pray. Oh, please don't make my feel good go away. Just the look of those eyes cutting through my smoky skies. Of me, the to get me through my day. Oh, watching you sleeping, I cry. Yeah, yeah, please don't make my feelings go away. Don't go away. Don't go away. Please don't mean I never go Oh, please don't make my feel good go away. Please don't make my feel good go away. Yeah. Please don't make my feel good go away. Oh, please don't make my feel good go away. Oh, please don't make me go away.
Beautiful. I could see some people moving. Maybe a quick show of hand. Who actually used this break for a break instead of checking emails? Okay, where are the guilty ones like, yes, I did check emails. It's okay, you know. That was like, no, I did not. All right, welcome back once more. Maybe a bit of a stretch just to prepare ourselves for the next hour of input. We've shaken. And one deep breath in. And deep breath out. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Pontus.
Yeah, thank you, Katarina. And I would also like to invite you to turn on your cameras again, or turn them on if you've had them off, because it's so much nicer to see each other's faces as we meet online like this. And yeah, so I'm a psychologist, but I'm also an actor. And I feel very strongly that the arts is playing, and it's going to play, an important role in the transition process that we are in and about to enter into. There is some noise. Maybe someone could help me to mute if there is someone who forgot to mute themselves.
Yes, we're all co-creating the muting together.
All right. Yeah, so, yeah, because the arts, they has the power to speak past our intellect and directly with our body and with our subconscious. And I think the arts is a really important way forward. Somebody was also speaking about the empowered or embodied practices. And with that, I would like to invite a friend of mine, Rosanna Rippel, who is a fantastic spoken word artist. And I'd like to give you the floor for a few minutes. Before you start, I will just also say that there is a chat box open in HowSpace, where you can share a little bit of resonance with what this kind of evokes in you or awakens in you as you listen and feel into what Rosanna is sharing. So take it away, Rosanna.
Thank you, Pontus. Hello, everyone. My name is Rosanna Rippel. Really nice to see your faces. And like Pontus said, I'm here to share some poetry with you. The poem I'm about to read is about kinship. It's also called Kinship. And I wrote it for a course on the same topic that I took a while ago. And it stirred up many thoughts and feeling around connectedness to each other and our world. And it's very related, I would say, to IDG number 3, relating, caring for others and the world. And it's about 5 minutes long, so sit back and tune in. among collapsing towers, made of sand, ripped from the womb and the soul of the land, humanity stands. Unable to solve problems he does not understand, man starts to mirror the catastrophe at hand. And the casualties are major. People don't feel well. It's shown in their behavior. Everyone can tell how deeply it hurts to wake up to a truth so hard to sell. Deep down, hope and patience is wearing thin, and we're further away than we've ever been from feeling that we're kin. And so we try to cope with this widespread sense of being disconnected, lonely and rejected, unable to find home, unallied and confused, starved of cosmic wonder on a planet we abused. And when I strike the umbilical cord that links us humans with the world, the tune is in minor, like a sad and somber violin playing a song called Where is Our Kin? But we are not selfish cells, burning compact, lifeless shells. No, we are meshwork of selfless selves. We are colonies, dwelling in parallel. We were born to work together like two rows of teeth. Our crowns are linked above us, roots bundle underneath. Just take your hand and put it over your belly button and feel it with your fingers. We all have this scar in our belly, telling the story of separation. But truth is, it's not a scar from being cut off. It's a signature of source, the origin of being, the well of all life's force. And we are still connected. There is no divorce. We just forgot that we're part of this constant intercourse. Just feel that marking on your belly. Our universal stem. You see, nobody came into this life before life came into them. And through this navel gazing, we can learn to see each other. We can learn to relate, to birth and to mother. We can never be islands in the ocean of existence. There's no actual distance, only pain and resistance. And as our sand-built structures are starting to cave in, we need to make kin. With all these ifs and maybes, uncertainty and fear, make kin more than babies and learn to hold it near, hold it dear. Rediscover how to feel related to the whole and to its parts, to love wildly untranslated with our bodies and our hearts. We need to be more human. She whispered in my ear, this voice of truth and wisdom all humans need to hear. We need to be more human. The thirst for it is strong. We want to be more human. We've been shut down far too long. And the lostness is no error. The heartbreak, it's not wrong, since there is nothing more human than wanting to belong. And to be with this longing is a door. Only by passing through it will you find what you're looking for. Be with the longing to be human. Come, unity, lead us into community. Let us remember through the memory of bone that we never have been and never will be alone, that beside the doom and gloom there's room for everyone and everything you have ever loved on the inside of your eyelids. Take refuge in the truth. There is kinship around you simply through being alive. It's something you're bound to through the air you breathe, the water you drink. You create this intimate link. And when you die, you will be put in the ground to let nature surround you and rebirth through the earth. You see, you're always a part and the whole. Know this deep within, and you will find the wonderful feeling of being kin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you, Rosanna, for taking your time and sharing your heart with us. And
My pleasure.
please just share a few words of resonance. You can do it in the Zoom chat or in the house-based chat. What does this awaken in you? How do these words impact you? Yeah, so many words of gratitude that is coming to you, Rosanna. And I just want to say also that your contact and also your poem will be published in Housebase. So if you want to read it, and is it the full-length version that you are sharing, Rosanna? Or is it this version?
Shorter one.
This was the shorter
but
one.
I'm keen on sharing the full one if you want.
Yeah, why don't you send it to me and I will see if we can upload a link to that one as well. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Katarina.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rosanna, for touching our hearts and reminding us of that longing for kin. And that in the end, we all just want to be more human. And as we already learned today, a huge part of being human is to connect with each other and to co-create, which is what we're already doing here live today. So with this, I'd like to introduce the next round of inputs where you hopefully will learn even more about how you can actually do that. And with this, I am handing it back to Pontus, who will now be wearing a new hat and will be more the hub coordinator and network coordinator. And by that, the one who's kindly weaving all those open threads together to a big net. Pontus, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, when I'm sitting here listening to us, I get this feeling that we are presenting something as if it is kind of ready and as if we know what we are doing. And in one way, you could say we have no clue what we are doing because this is truly an emergent journey. And it's impossible to kind of have a clear plan or a roadmap. It's much more about sensing into what energy is there. And how can we connect those energies and those initiatives with each other? So the idea with hubs and networks that I am trying to coordinate and help kind of garden and grow is that we can meet together in communities. And they can be many different kinds of communities. It can be a few enthusiasts who are really keen on using the IDGs for practicing their own growth. It can be activists who want to use the framework and the ideas behind the IDGs to get better in kind of actually getting results in their action that they do in their local community or the wider community. We have example of hubs who are already existing communities or organizations who say, well, we do this, but we also want to label ourselves an IDG hub, and they are also welcome. And there are on the innerdevelopmentgoals.org homepage, there is a tab that is called Community, and there you can read much more about, what is required to become a hub and what you can do in order to register yourself as a hub and be part of the homepage, and also be part of a coordinator network. So each hub or network has a possibility to select 3 coordinators who will then be part of a more kind of tight community where we share practices and ideas with each other. I think another really important cornerstone here, we have the tools and we have the framework and we have the communities, is stories. And I think through stories, through sharing stories, we can also share how we are using tools and methods and ways of creating actions and waves and ripples and inspire each other so that we can copy and tweak and paste with pride and honor and spread kind of good ideas all around. Yeah, maybe it's time actually to get a little bit of greetings from the community that is already here. We have on the homepage now already more than 120 hubs registered. I'm not guaranteeing that all of them are active, but many of them are from 43 countries. And we've kind of created this little reel, this little trailer with greetings from all over the world. So it's a few minutes long, and I would say enjoy it. And Daniel, will you put it on for us, or? Giving Daniel a moment to fix this. While you do that, Daniel, I can also say that from the community tab, here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1. We don't need a better world. We need to be better for our world. IDG transitions in Amsterdam are the best journey ever.
Hello, I'm Rafaela from the IDG Hub in Florianópolis, a beautiful island in Brazil.
Hello, I'm Palma.
And I'm Andre.
And
we are
the Lisbon Hub.
Hi, dear IDG Hub communities. This is Jia Wang from Taiwan.
Hello, my name is Karimi. I'm talking to you from Zurich, Switzerland. And together with Carlis and David, we are trying to bring the IDGs into the context of leadership and business.
Hello, my name is Christine. We are filming from the hub Relay to Change, Oslo, Norway.
Hello.
Hello from IDG Hub Munich.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Valerie Jackman and I'm representing the Scottish IDG Hub.
Hello, Bettina and Marianne from the Aarhus Inner Development Hub here, today on a trip a bit south of the city for an ancient future walk.
Hello everyone, my name is Ricardo Cato, I'm speaking from São Paulo, Brazil.
Hello, my name is Åsne and I'm from the Fredrikstad Hub in southern Norway.
Hi from Klustret Ekskärets IDG Hub here in Stockholm. My name is Lotta and I'm one of the catalysts of our hub.
And my name is Stefan, I'm another catalyst.
And I'm Madeleine and I'm the third for now.
Hi, I'm from Balkan IDG Hub.
Yes, that's the three of us, and we want to see the ladies as well because that will improve the quality that we have. We're just here in central Belgrade, the three of us. We just met. We just founded the Balkan IDG Hub a few weeks ago.
Hi, my name is Marina, and for me the IDGs are a community and toolkit to regenerate this planet.
Hi, this is Mohammed, and the IDGs are building foundations for sustainable transformation.
Hi, this is Vanessa from the IDG Hub in Barcelona. What is really resonating in a hub is the purpose and the motivation that everybody's bringing into the space, and how we want to really get together to live the IDGs and to make this movement a real force for good.
Hi, I'm Valerie Adolf, and I find the IDGs very useful for communication and self-awareness in teams so that we find better solutions for the complex problems we have nowadays.
Hi everyone, here is Lydia and Joachim from Manas, recording from Copenhagen.
Hi, my name is Roger from IDG Hub Umeå.
My name is Tom, and Umeå, we are sited in the northern part of Sweden, and right now we are taking the first steps on this journey, starting to creating this hub.
Dear IDGs family, a warm hug from Venice. My name is Carlotta.
I'm Manuela Pagani, founder of ULab Hub Ticino.
Buongiorno, I am Paolo Fedi, co-founder of ULab Hub Rome in Italy.
I'm representing the people that believes indeed that we truly, deeply believe that this is highly needed. That's why we are here.
Amazing. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing that. And yeah, just to highlight that if you want to define yourself as part of this community, you are free to do so. First step, I would say, is to see if there is a hub that is near you or that fits your theme or your purpose, then connect to that hub. Or find some people and start a hub, and you find everything about it on the community tab on the innerdevelopmentgoals.org homepage. I want to say one more thing, and I want to invite a voice also, because apart from hubs, we also have networks that are starting to emerge, and networks are more kind of theme related and can stretch across geographies. And I would like to invite Ariel, you are in the practitioners network, and this was started by Patrick McNamara. It's a beautiful idea, but I would like to hear maybe a little voice from what's a network and what's your network specifically about.
Thank you, Pontus. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So hello from the IDG Practitioners Network. We are so excited to be a part of this co-creative and emergent movement. We are a global group of practitioners who are in the early stages of co-creating a self-organized network. We're practicing together to develop our individual and collective capacities. We're supporting each other through challenges and experimenting with prototypes to inform our learning and the movement at large. So come join us. If you would like to learn more, you can check out the community tab on the IDG website and scroll to the calendar to sign up for our next event. And I will go ahead and put a link in the chat as well. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ariel. And you know, this is just one example of a network. We see already other ideas of networks popping up, like impact investing or how to use IDGs in schools, or, you know, there's no limit to what a network could be about, and that it could stretch across geographies also. Cool. Yeah, I think I will stop there, Katarina.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pontus, for this overview of the hubs and the networks. I'm sure there will be questions to you as well, and I hope we'll find more time to answer them a bit later on. Now we'd like to get 2 more people to tell us also how they connect with the outer world. And the next one is specifically interesting and important for us as well, because he's the one connecting to our supporters and partners, and he's also one of the voices that actually goes out to the world, as he's the Director of Partnerships and Communication. Daniel.
Thank you very much, Katarina. And wow, I really loved that video. It's so nice to see so many people kind of around the world working on the IDGs. I mean, I came from the Barcelona hub, so it was really nice to also see some people there from Barcelona representing. So that was a really touching video. But now I'm here to put on another hat. So I am also the one who's working with our corporate partners. And I just wanted to talk very briefly, because I know we're running a bit short on time, on what that actually means. And so for us, our partnerships are really ways to engage with the IDGs for our partners on the one hand, so we can have a closer relationship on working together and figuring out where is this going and how does it look like to put the IDGs into practice. But then it's also really part of our theory of change at the IDGs, because we really believe that if we want to see wide-scale adoption of inner development, if we want to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, we need big organizations to carry this forward, just as much as we need kind of the movement from the grassroots communities that we're also fostering. And so that's really the idea with our organizations and our partners, so that we engage with them, we bring them into dialogue, we have some exclusive gatherings there, we have a learning circle where we learn and share and exchange about specifically the practice of bringing the IDGs into action at scale in large organizations, because we think that 2030 is coming soon for the SDGs. We need to really ramp up the efforts of how many people are working on inner development to get us to a point where it makes a difference. And so we're working with some forward-thinking companies who, are pioneering, as we are an organization that's also pioneering this area of research and exploration of how the IDGs and the SDGs are linked, and what we can really do to support this effort to navigate this complex topic of sustainable development. And so if you're interested in more of that, I can talk more about that in the afterglow. I'll have like a small room and I can share more about how it exactly works if you want to sign up as a partner, or if you're a hub and you would like to bring in some partners. But I'd really like to also share with you something that excites me for next year, and that is the IDG Summit. That's the thing that really brought me into the movement in April. And I think that's the thing that I'm really looking forward to next year. And perhaps you've already seen, but we announced already the dates of 11th and 12th of October. And so you can see the format is already going to be different in that we are going to go for 2 days instead of 1, because one of the feedbacks we got was, how can you bring all these wonderful speakers into one place, into Stockholm, and then you put them on stage for like 10, 15 minutes? and then they go back home. And so what we want to do is we want to have a second day where we can have workshops with some of these speakers, where they can really give like an hour or 2-hour workshop where we can go and dive deeper with them into the topic with a little bit of a smaller group as well. So we have much more interaction with our speakers. We have a beautiful location already booked, the Circus in Stockholm. We're talking to a few other locations for the second day, so we're going to be a bit more distributed around the city, and we're going to have a wonderful dinner to conclude that. And we already have a few speakers confirmed. We're going to wait to announce them until January 22. So right now we're selling the super early bird tickets, and we're going to wait until that closes, until we announce them. But I see we're just a few friends here. So I just wanted to share 1 or 2 speakers with you that we already have confirmed. So I heard that it will be Bob Keegan and Dan Siegel joining us again for the summit. That's just for your ears for now. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving in on the second day and deeper with them and going deep on some of these issues. So yeah. That's what we have planned for the summit. But as this is a co-creation effort, what I'm coming with is asking you also on any thoughts that you have on the summit. And there's 3 questions, and you should be seeing them on HowSpace in just a second. And the idea is really that we want to ask, are there any speakers that you would like to see at the summit? Are there any experiences that you know from other areas or from other types of events? And what are other kinds of events that we should perhaps be connecting with or that we can learn from? So I just wanted to give you maybe 60 seconds now to fill that in on HowSpace. I don't see it yet, but let's see. I think now you should, underneath the questions, you should be seeing like an image on connecting the dots. That's the motto for the Summit 2023. And you see like 3 little boxes with some questions. And if you feel like you would like to add a name of a speaker or another event that you really liked, this would be a great time to add some comments. I'm looking at the clock. I think I need to pass it on very soon. So I'll leave you with a few seconds more to fill this out. I am really looking forward to what we can co-create for the summit. The idea is that we really get into the IDGs in action and see how we can get this movement on the ground. And yeah, one other way on how we can do this and work on inner development with ourselves very immediately is the topic of our next speaker. So I'll leave you with this cliffhanger and pass it on to Katarina. Thank you.
Perfect, Daniel. Thank you so much. I love it how all the speakers are already creating the cliffhangers and segues to the next speakers. We just opened up the questions for you to add your ideas and thoughts to the summit. We'll also send this to you afterwards in case you don't have that straight to mind right now, but we're really grateful for all your inputs there. And with this, we'll pass on to the next speaker, who's from our, as Jan beautifully said it today, our sister company, 29K. She's the co-CEO, and she's also someone who's with 29K been offering something that was already there to connect it with the IDGs, and by that, accelerate our common vision together. Happy to have you with us, Maria.
Thank you so much, Katarina, and a pleasure to see all of your faces on the screen. I have to apologize in advance that my location had to be changed, so sorry if it's a bit noisy. I'm in downtown Stockholm. I'm just going to share my screen. It says I cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing. So you know, I have some slides.
Should work.
Perhaps
try it again.
I'll try again. Now. Here we are. So hopefully you can see that. And here we go. So pleasure again to see all of you. My name is Maria Mudig, and I am the co-CEO of the 29K Foundation. And as Katarina mentioned, we are the sort of sister organization of the IDGs. For those of you that don't know about us yet, 29K is one of the initiating partners of the IDGs. We were founded in 2017 on the premise that individuals and societies need to build the psychological resources to cope with everyday life, thrive, and have the skills to be able to contribute towards a better future for all and the planet. And also that if inner development is going to contribute to addressing some of humanity's most pressing challenges, that this will need to be scaled out to millions. And so our approach from the outset has been that if we are to do this responsibly and at scale, that we need to create a trustworthy arena that not only provides access to the world's best evidence-based tools for inner development, but that really creates an experience so lovable and engaging that anyone from 15 years older and up can easily use it for free. So we have spent the last 5 years building this solution, and that you can find that in the form of the non-profit open source 29K app that we launched in 2020 with the intention to reach millions. The way the app works right now is that users engage in evidence-based courses, exercises, and meditations that help to strengthen your mental well-being and also develop your IDG skill sets. And the glue really that holds the practice over time is a real-time community via video sharing group functionality where users get support, human connection, and that deeper learning that comes from sharing as part of your practice. And very much like AA, the model is self-organizing, effective for providing sort of meaning and depth of practice, and highly scalable. And as a nonprofit, all optimizations that we're making are always to maximize the meaning and impact for the individual. So if the IDGs is about raising awareness of the connection between our inner world and the exterior world, 29K very much focuses on addressing the doing. And right now you will find our courses cataloged in the IDG tools website according to the IDG skills you wish to practice. And I think now I can't sort of emphasize enough that together with this amazing IDG community that is building momentum, we really now have a chance like we've never had in really the last 20, 30 years to really contribute to addressing the massive knowing doing gap that has characterized our collective behaviors, certainly in the last 50 years or so, not through talking about inner development, but by practicing it and practicing it together, and also scaling it up then to millions together. So traction for our current app is growing. We've had roughly around 300,000 downloads and a 4.8 average user rating. However, there's a lot more we want to do, in particular to enrich the experience of sharing and reflecting with others. And the scientific benefits really of doing so for behavioral change are many, and that's what we're focusing on right now. And that is why I'm talking today, because I'm very happy to invite everyone in the IDG community to come and really join as co-creators. We have just launched the public beta of our new app experience that for now we call the 29K sessions. And during December and January, we're hosting daily 30-minute sessions hosted by experienced facilitators, focusing on taking you through evidence-based exercises to practice your IDG skills. And you can also host private sessions with those you choose to invite yourselves. And so you're very welcome to try out our live hosted sessions for yourselves and with your IDG hubs and nodes. And of course, to contribute with feedback and ideas is what we're hoping towards what we develop going forward. So that it's also, we are sort of mindful that what we want to build is very much nurturing your own priorities when it comes to scaling out the practice of inner development if we are to really achieve what we want in time also for the planet. And I'll stop there, but thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing your feedback if any of you try our sessions out. And I believe over back to you, Katarina. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. And yes, I can also definitely recommend you to try out these sessions and try out Yeah. We're running slightly behind time, which is why we're not going to go straight into a Q&A with the three speakers we just heard, but we will at the very end of our event today open up something we call an afterglow, where we have rooms for each of the speakers that you have already heard. So in case you do have more specific questions, feel free to stay on with us for a little afterglow and pose your questions there. And with this, I say thank you so much to Pontus, Daniel, and Maria, and I'll hand it back to you, Pontus.
Yes, so I think an important part of an event like this is to hear more voices and to hear the community and connect to the community. So we are going to start breakout rooms. You will be selected in rooms with about 6 people. Maybe it will vary a bit from 4 to 6 or something like that. And you will have something like 8 to 10 minutes to talk together and specifically work with a question. What ideas do you have and what are you inspired to do in relation to the IDGs? So what ideas do you have and what are you inspired to do in relation to the IDGs? That's our invitation for the breakout. During the breakout, we will have a house-based chat open. So we ask you to have one of you in each breakout open a chat window and just write down a few sentences of what you are talking about. That'll be very valuable information for all of us to see. So with that, Johan, are you ready to open breakout so we have a chance to meet each other across?
Yes, I'll open them right now. So you'll be moved out into breakout rooms and hopefully you'll find some friends there.
You want to unplug the TV so we can hear here?
See you in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Are we in a group?
You will be in a group in a moment. You're moving out.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm in my car, as you can maybe see.
No worries.
All right, if anyone has any difficulties going into breakout sessions, just let us know. Usually there should be a little pop-up window coming up for you, or maybe you just put directly into the breakout sessions. Of course, you don't have to. You can also feel free to stay here. I might put on a bit of music, but if you have any difficulties, just let us know so we can help you.
I was in hub 6, but there was no one there.
Yeah, that happens.
What room were you in?
There we go.
I don't know.
I actually have to get on a train in a second, so I'm gonna step back from the hub because I'm gonna be in a train in a second.
All right, don't worry. Thanks for letting us know, Philippa.
All right.
Hi, I would like to be sent to a room because I think I'm in the main room.
Yes, I'd like to be sent to a room too, please.
Me too.
Likewise.
Me 3, please.
Have to add to that.
Me too, please.
Okay.
Yes, I'm moving you.
Maybe the ones who want to get put into room, put your name in the chat as well, that makes it a bit easier for us.
I also was in an empty room, so just connect me with any room.
Sometimes it does also take a while until everyone arrives. It's not that easy here.
So I'm just moving you out. Those of you who haven't yet had a room. Zoom is playing a bit of a trick here, but have patience. And hopefully you'll all get into a room.
All right, everyone should be assigned to a room now. So in case that still doesn't work for you or it doesn't pop up for you, just let us know. Usually you should just be directly put into the room.
But why don't we just open the conversation here in the big room, since we don't have that much time?
Exactly.
So could you remind us of the question, Pontus?
So the question, Pontus, you're still mute.
Yes, thank you. What ideas do you have and what are you inspired to do in relation to the IDGs? I think it's great we can have the conversation going here. This is like a bigger breakout. Good to see you, Christine.
Yes, same, thank you, Pontus and Johan. Well, we are just in the start, so we have that discussion ongoing, how to develop further, and we are reach out to different companies now and also associations. So we shall have some meeting in the new year. So we are kind of. I was thinking contacting you because it's how to implement it, how to use it. It's a lot of questions on daily basis. So we actually discuss this every week. With Cecilia is here. I see it's one in our hub. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. So just supporting Christine. It's we started to work with this and starting to reach out to companies and kind of selling the idea. And we have some meetings. So we're in a very exciting process, I think.
Cool. Helen and Helene. Is it Helene you call yourself?
Yes, Helene, it's Dutch. But Helen is fine too.
Yeah.
Nice to be here and to share. I'm from the Netherlands, from The Hague. And actually, I was a bit multitasking, so I'm happy that you repeated the question.
Yeah.
What I'm very inspired by the IDGs as the way inside and of consciousness in order to solve our societal problems out there and to turn the light inwards, as Buddhists say, and I think also Otto Scharmer. So it inspires me. And what we are doing here, I'm involved with some people who are starting a hub in The Hague, in which we actually want to have a sort of clubhouse where people can gather and inspire each other, share what they do. That's the idea of the hub. And my particular personal interest, I have an active national political background. I was, what do you call it? The head of the Green Party in the Netherlands. And actually, I went out of politics because I thought it is a nasty place. But since some years, I can see it is actually the golden place. When change will start from there, it will go very rapidly. So I have the ambition to bring more, to help develop humanity and consciousness in the national government and parliament and also local councils. But that's something that I want to share with you and to ask your advice. I hear you all. I think also, Christine, you said you are approaching customers and companies. I sometimes have the feeling that they are not ready yet to, be able to be approached as a customer or the one who can benefit from this approach. How is that for you in your experience?
Well, we haven't really started. We started to send out emails and reach out. So we also and also been contacted. Right now, tomorrow, I'm going to have a meeting with a big organization, a public organization in further north. And they're working with Oslo Met and University in Oslo, and wanted to share with me what they're doing and to learn more about IDG. I have a problem saying it in English.
Yeah.
IDG, I have to exercise that. So and in January, in January, we are invited to have a meeting with one of the big consultant organizations in Norway, who is also international, like the Stockholm's they have the oldest and largest leadership development program in Oslo, in Norway, and they are the same as Stockholm School of Business. So to see what can cooperate, and maybe they would like to be like a sponsor. So where shall we do to impact most? We are kind of discussing that how, and yeah. So we just started and see how we can start to roll, and learning by doing is more like that.
And what do they trigger on? What is their interest? What do they relate closestly to?
I think what we are trying to sell is that they're doing two things. They have to do it, what they actually also do, train their people, develop the organization, and at the same time work for the bigger picture. They can do two things at the same time.
Yeah, wonderful.
That's the selling point as far as I see.
I think related to your question, Helene, also a good kind of practice, if you want, is to not focus on those who don't understand, don't want to hear, but focus on where the energy is. Where is there a yes? And that's where you focus.
Yeah, that's what we do too. But I'm a bit impatient and I want everyone to be very excited and say yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited that a lot of people are already popping back into our little intimate breakout session, and suddenly we are hundreds of people again. Wow, I always love that moment when people are like dropping back in from the breakout sessions, and there's always people who like interrupted in the middle of their sentence. They're like, oh, I was already over. Well, this is just the beginning, as we've heard. And we really want you to continue having those conversations. And maybe you just want to share one essence of what was said, something you thought or said, or something that you heard. Maybe you just want to share that in the chat and also in the house space, so we get a few impressions of what was just happening for you in those sessions.
We have one hand. Yeah, let's hear very shortly, Sharon. What's your what does your voice want to say?
Thank you very much, Pontus and Katarina, everyone who made this happen. So it's wonderful work. I was just reflecting on something that we came up and kind of resonated with us in the room, and it was like, it's so wonderful to have this research-based and other analysis, and it gives us a framework. And already, I mean, I think all of us are on board. At least that's why we're here. But sometimes I wondered also, like the thing I raised, which I thought we have to take with a pinch of salt, is if we have all this analysis and all these tools, and we say we want to accelerate to the SDGs, we might get analysis paralysis in applying them, and actually get stuck in the detail of trying to apply the best tool and the best. And that's why I was thinking there's a fine balance between applying the tools or learning. And I was comparing it with spontaneous consciousness movements that happen, like in Iran, for example, the country of my origin, where we have young people just being out in the streets, putting themselves in front of bullets, creating a third wave feminist movement in the world, or being part of it. In the same way as the second wave feminist movement happened, all the other big consciousness movement happened that changed, the status quo. They happen very spontaneously, and they come from awareness and communication and just shift.
I think you have a very good point, and I think we should, also trust what comes through stories and build on each other's good experiences of what seems to work, and be inspired by that, not get kind of hampered by the idea that everything has to be researched. It's just one of the pillars, not the only one. And I think we are kind of coming towards the end, but it's actually not the end. It's an invitation to stay for an afterglow. So please stay tuned if you have the possibility and the energy for that. We will in a little while open breakouts again, but this time based on themes. So the different speakers will go into one room each. But from us, I want to say thank you so much for showing up. Please stay connected. The house space page will stay open, and we will upload the recordings from this session on HowSpace, and there will be links. And also, let's have the conversation continuing on HowSpace, because that's also how we can reach each other. I saw in the Zoom chat someone was saying, where can I join the Impact Invest network? Well, this is the perfect place to find that out. So reach out and find each other. You can find all the contributors, all the people who were participating or who were signing up in HowSpace. And also there is going to be, there is the collaboration tool on the homepage. Maybe someone is also sharing it. That's a really good way of finding different ways to collaborate and contribute. Also hope to see you at the summit. If you have the possibility, it will be possible to join physically in Stockholm or virtually, maybe with your hub or network. There is also going to be a feedback form sent out. Please fill that in. And yeah, maybe the last thing to mention, we have a gathering actually on the 24th of January. And the gatherings are going to occur monthly up until the summit this autumn. And I think the gatherings will also feature some of the speakers from the summit. So join those. Yeah. Do you want to add anything more towards the end here, Katarina?
You've gone through this list so perfectly well. I think there's so many opportunities and chances for you to connect and really stay in contact with us and co-create all these different developments and initiatives together. I think the only thing I'd like to add is one thing that I just saw in the chat that I found really beautiful from Renee is being human is a skill we all have. And that really resonates with me. And that's something that I could really sense in this meeting here today as well. And I always have to think of something that was said during the summit in April, that was that inner development might sound like something that we're doing individually. And whilst that's sometimes true, it's never something we do alone. It's always something that we do together. And only if we do it together, this bigger we can emerge. And that's, I think, what I find most beautiful about this whole initiative. So with this, I would say we can close the official part.
Yeah, I think before we kind of invite people into the breakout and close the official part, or the official part is closed, I think. But I see an eager hand, and I want to invite this eager hand before we open the breakouts. So are we?
Right. It's Aoife, but thank you. It's an Irish name. I'm from Ireland, but yes, thank you so much for this. It's amazing. I just had a question about a catalyst. How do you become a catalyst? And I looked at the community page and I couldn't see it there, and I was just wondering what it is exactly.
Yeah, who can speak to that?
Excellent question. Sometimes it feels like we've got so many different parts and communities and hubs and everything emergent that we're not even entirely sure what all of them are. Catalysts are mainly people who are heading or who have founded specific organizations or companies, and by that can help us a bit like this snowball system, right? To get the IDGs into their own organization, or maybe connect us with other partners and cooperation. If you're interested to become part of the Catalyst group, just direct an email to either me or Daniel, and we'll make sure that you'll be taken into that group.
That'll be great. I work for an NGO called Antashka. I'm a conservation biologist, but so I'm not, I obviously didn't start that NGO, but I would be interested in catalyzing from that kind of NGO space, if that makes sense.
Great, perfect.
Together.
Yeah.
Well, with this, thank you so much to everyone who stayed till now. It's 5:04. We've spent 2 beautiful hours together. And if you are interested in actually asking more questions or connecting more, we're now going to open up new breakout sessions where you can self-direct yourself. So we're going to have one with Daniel on the partnerships. We're going to have one with Pontus on the hubs and the networks. I am happy to talk about the summit, as my second head is also director of the IDG Summit. So I'm happy to create and design it for next year. We'll have Christian talking more about the research and the toolkit, Samuel about the IDG tools, and Maria on 29K. And there will also be a room if you just want to exchange with other hubs, or just feel free to exchange with each other. And with this, we say thank you so much for being with us for this official part, and please stay on. We're going to leave this open for 20 minutes max, and then we'll close it and wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you, Pontus.
Thank you, Katarina, for great collaboration. And maybe you want to give us a hint on how we actually do join a breakout room now.
Well, each and every one should have a button at the bottom of the Zoom window where you can choose breakout rooms. And there you can choose the topic through the name of the breakout room, and you can join in there. And so you have the different topics, and you'll have a host in each breakout room. And as Katarina was saying, you have the hub meets hubs where you can connect through hubs. I also just created other rooms with colors. If you want to join, invite somebody to another room, you can invite them to the blue, red, green, purple, pink, rainbow, gray, or white room. If you want a one-on-one meeting there. So
now I feel tempted to go to one of the ones.
Yeah, so you can all navigate freely now as you want.
All right, goodbye everyone. Speak later.
Yeah. So please let me know if you can't find the breakout room button at the bottom of your Zoom window. I can help you navigate there.
So I'm going to stay in the general room. If there is any questions, maybe we can stop the live sending and recording.